Hey everyone, Jason from Alphatone Audio back again. And today I just want to do a quick overview of the Squareplug lineup because I still get a bunch of questions on it. Like for example, I have a customer say, hey, I want to get a bunch of SP400s, but I'm not sure which cable was going to go with it. Or even sometimes I'll just get an order from the online shop and someone will order like a whole bunch of like SP500s and then like a whole bunch of like 2314. And I'll just send a message like, hey, just want to make sure that you actually know what you're buying, because that cable is not a great fit for that plug. And sometimes say, yeah, that's actually what I want. Or sometimes they're like, hey, no, I didn't actually understand. Swap out the plugs or swap out the cable, whatever. So just want to give a real quick overview of the 5 different plugs they're doing right now. We have over here the standard tip sleeve right angle pancake plugs, the SP400 and the SP500. Completely identical in every aspect except for the SP500 has a slightly bigger exit hole, so you can put larger cables inside the SP500. So there are cables that will fit inside the 500 that will not fit inside the 400. And some of the cables you would use for the 400 don't have great strain relief with the 500. Next to that is the SP550S, which is the TRS version of the right angle pancake plugs. Again, identical in every single way to these ones, except for this is like a little bit thicker and a little bit is like a 0.5 millimeter, like barely thicker. And again, that is the TRS version. So you can use that for TRS mini or balanced audio or whatever. On the straight TS plugs, you have the SPS4 and the SPS5. Again, these two are identical in every way, except for the exit hole on the SPS5 is slightly larger than that on the SPS4. So again, you use larger cables with the SPS5 than you can on the SPS4. Now, the manufacturer actually publishes a great PDF and has all the details, not only as far as the specifications on the plugs themselves, but as far as which cables they actually recommend that you use with each one of the plugs. So let's take a look at that right now. So the reason I want to share this information is because whenever people are talking about the Squareplugs, what cable are you using with them, I tend to see the same cable recommendations come up all the time. And it could be just because those are the most popular cable that guitar players are using in their rigs right now. And again, like the Mogami comes up, the Canary comes up, the BTPA cable comes up, and these are all great cables, so no problem with that. But as you can see from this list, there are quite a bit of other cables that you can actually use with the Squareplugs if you just happen to have some lying around, or you just have a preference that's not as popular or whatever. So you can see here in the chart, there's 3 different identifiers. One, you have the red X, which of course means that that cable is not compatible with that plug. Secondly, you just have a green check mark, which means it's a fit. But then you also have the green check mark with the square box around it, which means it's a tight fit. And as far as strain relief, tight fit is actually kind of what you want. Because the strain relief isn't really adjustable on these, you have to get the right outer diameter for the cable in order to get the maximum strain relief out of the plug. Now, as far as these kind of plugs, if you're putting this stuff on a pedal board where everything is kind of like locked down with Velcro or whatever, I don't really care that much about the strain relief, just because the chances of that cable getting tugged is quite a bit smaller than say your standard guitar cable or it's kind of like instrument cable. And again, it doesn't have to be as durable. It's not like you're plugging in and plugging this thing out like 100 times or like every single day, or you're coiling it up and throwing it in a bag, whatever. I feel like once you get everything put on your pedal board, of course you're going to be swapping things out from time to time, but I feel like you just don't need to have as much strain relief on there. So whatever the recommendations are, I think they're all fine. Even if this is a standard fit versus a tight fit, I think everything is going to be fine, and you're not really going to have any problems as long as you just don't have a lot of slack hanging off the pedal board or something like that where it's going to get caught, or especially if you put all the cable underneath your pedal board where maybe it's looping down and it gets caught on something on the floor, pedal boards get kicked, and then you kind of get something grabbing at it from underneath. Anyway, like I said, I generally don't think that stuff on the pedal board you need a ton of strain relief for. If you do, you can always go with a completely different plug. You can always go with like your G&H or your Neutrix or whatever. So anyway, that's all I really want to talk about today. Just wanted to share this information for you, so you can go ahead and just pause the video, take a look, see what all your options are, and hope this was helpful to you. And if it was, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you next time.